and we've got some incredible story coming up that's going to be featured on AMI. It's debuting today. But the story itself, the way it's come about is, these are the kinds of inspiring stories. And for those of us who have worked with AMI over the years, if you've, watched and listened to the show, you'll know that the stories are really phenomenal. Like, it really is quite incredible. Now, what also is incredible that Bruce Cook is joining us from the West Coast here today. So that means 5:41, which means, I think, Bruce, this means you're trying. And we have a lot of people on the show, including this host. Sometimes we don't.
Yeah, it's incredible that I'm up this early. That's to start with.
Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning.
Yes, from that hellhole known as Kelowna. What a tough place that is to live.
It's terrible.
Boy.
Yeah, it was almost too hot yesterday, 32 degrees. So yeah.
No, we should give it a little shout out because our good friend Praveen, who has been basically an assistant general manager for this radio station since it started over the last couple of years, has just moved to Kelowna. And, and near, I said one of the golf courses. Is it Wolf Creek? I'm trying to think of what he's close to.
I don't know. I don't remember what he said. Yeah.
He's moved out to one of the many golf courses that are out there. And of course, I said, well, get ready to bump it into half the NHL, because I don't know how many NHL players live in Kelowna, but it's got to be like 50,000.
Yeah, there's enough golf courses to support them. So yeah, quite a few of them out there, isn't there?
There is. Now, explain by hook or by crook, because when I'm first reading it, I had to read it again. Like, I had to understand exactly the story behind it, your personal story, and then this show, because it is, again, it's almost unbelievable, but that's what I find with people that get involved with AMI. These are the stories that change people's lives. So explain exactly, first of all, Bruce, your story, and then how this show happens.
So basically, I have been riding motocross, freestyle motocross, for many years, professionally since 2005. In January 3rd, 2014, I was set to attempt the world's first double front flip on a dirt bike, and came up a little bit short, basically slid off the back of my bike, folded in half backwards, which you don't want to do, which resulted in breaking my T11 vertebrae and left me in a wheelchair. And just kind of basically, I mean, I've had a lot of injuries riding dirt bikes, and it's always asking the doctor kind of how fast you can get back on the bike and figuring out a way to do it. And this was no different, basically. While I was in the hospital, I knew I wanted to get back on the bike. So I lucked out and had one of my best friends was a fabricator, so he was already working on my bike, and kind of we were messaging back and forth from the hospital bed and figuring out a way to make a cage and seat belt and whatnot work on the bike. And 9 months later, after my accident, I had my first ride on the dirt bike and kind of figured out some little adjustments and whatnot, but he pretty much nailed it. And then a month after that, landed the first backflip on a dirt bike as a paraplegic.
Wow.
That 9 months later, you're back on the bike.
Yeah, it was pretty quick. But honestly, having that goal of getting back on the bike was what helped, recovery, physiotherapy, and just the drive to do it. Because there's a lot of mornings you're laying in your hospital bed and you'd much rather just continue laying there. So it's a lot of effort to get out. You're sore, you hurt, you're still healing. And so just kind of having that goal of getting back on the bike in the back of my mind was what really helped kind of give me that little push to get me out of bed, spend an extra 5 or 10 minutes on the hand cycle or whatever it is. So it's crazy, but it all kind of worked together for my recovery anyway.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, Bruce, your show debuts, for everybody listening right now, you should know this, June the 3rd. So that's Thursday, 10 o'clock Eastern time on AMI TV. What can they expect as far as the show is concerned? And you obviously were the star of the show, but you probably have an idea of where this thing's going. And just as a sneak peek for some of our listeners to give us a little bit of a taste.
Yeah, so the show is kind of just a perfect fit for me. I'm kind of honored to be able to host it. There's a whole team behind it, obviously, but it's kind of finding these people and that need to get out there, that need to kind of experience things that they want to do, but don't really know how to do it. So we're basically just kind of giving them a means, figure out what they really want to do. For example, there's a 66-year-old lady with MS that has always wanted to fly, experience that feeling. So we were able to come up with some adaptions and contraptions, and took her zip lining and into a hot air balloon. So we kind of repurposed some old airplane seats, and I made a hydraulic lift to be able to get her into the basket, because apparently hot air balloons don't have doors, I learned, and that type of thing. And it's just, basically a kind of means for people to get out and adventure that otherwise wouldn't have the opportunity. So it's so awesome. And it's like I said, I'm honored to be able to do it, because it's so cool just being a part of their story, and the look on their face when they finally get to do this stuff is it's a lot of work, but it pays off instantly, just seeing that smile and their reaction. Well,
Bruce, it's not, I mean, people just assume that once there's motivation, instantly you gravitate towards that, and that's how everything works out in the end. The reality is that emotionally, and I think from a psychological standpoint, to get to a place where you think that you're going to be happy again is not an easy process. When you go through something like you did, and you're lying there, you think of a bunch of things. Number one, your mortality. You think about being alive or being dead, and being someone that has gone through a situation where I've had to think about that. It's a terrible place to be. It's a very dark place to be. But it's not just you going through it; it's your entire family. So the fact that you came to a conclusion that you did want to move on, I think that's what others are going to get from this show. I think that there are going to be people watching this show that are in bad places, that are in dark places, that are going to see this. And it's not that they have to be in a hot air balloon, and they're certainly not going to do what you do in terms of motocross, but it might be just getting out of bed. It might be just the understanding that there might be a life to live after this, because the process in getting there, for instance, for you, what was that like? What is that point where you decide that maybe you should get out of bed? Because I'm sure there were a lot of days and nights that went by where you're like, is this going to be it? Is this it?
Yeah, 100%. And that's what I want people to understand too. And like you said, it's a good point. Like myself, it was only motocross because I did that my whole life. Like it's not this miraculous thing that I all of a sudden got on a bike, learned how to ride the bike and everything. So like for me, myself, that's a lot more amazing than it sounds, because that's my life. Like that's what I've done. And regardless, I've had, like you said, I've had very dark days. People generally only see the highlights, thanks to social media and type thing. I try to be honest with some of the ride, but yeah, there's dark days you don't talk about, but just having that even like glimmer of hope in the back of your mind is a huge thing. And for me, a big thing is just figuring out a way to do it. Because if we just wait around and wait for the world to be accessible, you're going to be waiting your whole life. So it's finding out what you want to do, what kind of lights that spark, whatever it is, big or small. Like, I mean, even if it's figuring out a way to go bowling or something like that, it doesn't have to be extreme at all. And something that just lights the fire and just helps with the motivation and whatnot. And like a big thing for me is definitely the just not waiting around for the world to be accessible. Like I said, just little things, little adaptions, figuring out what you can change to be able to get back to the things that you used to enjoy, or find something new, and just kind of get underway yourself with the adaptions.
Yeah, exactly. Bruce, Mike talked about it off the top. We have a very good relationship with AMI, audio, television. We both work there at times through different awesome projects, and you're definitely in the same boat here. How did your relationship with AMI actually form? Can you take us through that part of it? Did they approach you? Did you reach out with an idea? Or because obviously it's a very good partnership here.
Yeah, so basically, I got a cold call from the producer for this show that often works with AMI. And I think by the end of the phone call, I basically said yes. I didn't know a whole bunch about the show, but it just sounded really cool and like something I wanted to be a part of. And the relationship with AMI has been awesome. Like we are kind of all on the same page, and believe in the same end goal, and it's just kind of, you know, you work out little kinks together and bounce ideas back and forth off each other, and I think we came out with a really good, solid result that everyone's going to enjoy.
Yeah.
Well,
Because without them, my show would be a complete gong show. That's for sure.
The interesting thing, and those that have been in the industry that you're in, I'm always amazed at what gearheads that you all are, because it doesn't matter, you know, seemingly what the conversation is. You turn it into a technical thing in which you could, I'm sure you would look at the sunset and you said, you know what could make the sun brighter? You know what I think could make the sun brighter? You know, you take this gasoline, you take this wrench, you throw in some sort of, I don't know, spark plug or something. I don't know what it is. It just seems to be a part of your makeup. So maybe, you know, this is just part of the process where you're sitting there at some point, as you said, already in the bed, you're talking to your buddy and you're like, you know how we could make this work? It just seems to be a part of your DNA.
I think any conversation, give me about 20 seconds and I can turn it back to motors and suspension and hydraulics somehow.
So true.
Well, it is. Look, it's been a real pleasure having you on the show today, and this is again a more marvelous work that comes from that company, and I'm glad that they partnered with you, and we look forward to it. So the debut today, but at some point, it'd be nice to catch up with you again, just see how you're doing. You know, as I said, these are the stories that inspire, and this day and age, you're telling me we don't need more inspiration, because we kind of do. This is sort of what this world needs badly. So I appreciate you getting up here early this morning with us. It's a great story. As I said, hopefully we'll get a chance to chat again, Bruce.
Yeah, not a problem. I appreciate you guys having me, and it's okay. It got me out of bed. We're heading to Alberta right now for some more filming. So heading into
beautiful.
Season.
Where about you in Alberta? Where are you going to
today? Where are you going?
Yeah.
We are going to beautiful Slave Lake, and then working our way down to Edmonton, Calgary, and then back home. So it's we're well on our way into season 2, and still casting for that one. So there's still some spots available for people to apply for season 2.
Well, you can bypass Edmonton. Nothing to see there. Just keep moving on.
At least it's warm. It looks warm.
Yeah, very true. Thanks, Bruce. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Good luck with the show.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.